Now it's time for Insight, Boyertown High School student-run talk show.
Welcome back to another year of Insight, Bachelor Student Run Talk Show.
For those of you watching for the first time, Insight is an hour-long monthly show where Boyertown students talk about a variety of topics. So let's get started.
School here at Boyertown started August 26th, and we are now actually halfway through the first quarter. It is this time that the freshmen are finally getting used to high school. Or is anyone here a freshman? Oh.
All right, we got quite a bit of them.
We got some questions for you. How has your first weeks of school been?
Honestly, they've been interesting. Yeah.
Because you're a freshman?
Yeah, I'm a freshman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But basically, the school is so much bigger, and I went to East, and it's so much bigger and so much different. I waved to the wrong camera. Anyways, yeah, pretty much. It's pretty different, to be honest. There's different classes. It's more work, more walking. So that's my thoughts on it.
It's like Chris said, it's pretty different, and I'm coming from a completely different state, so I wasn't really sure what to expect, but this school is kind of confusing, but people have been really nice, so yeah.
Yeah, just like both Chris and Maya said, it was pretty complicated first week, and I moved from a different school system my first year at Boyertown, and I made some new friends from different grades and everything, so it was kind of stressful, so it was also kind of fun. So,
What has been the most stressful thing for you?
the tests, honestly, the tests and making friends, but yeah.
I thought you were going to say our cooking class.
Oh yeah, and our cooking class.
Yeah.
So one of my things was it's a lot of walking, just up, especially in the old building. It's up and down all the time. But the weird thing is the two schools, East and West, and other people coming from other districts. It's just very interesting, mixing together.
Mm-hmm. You're not stressed, any of you?
No, I guess not.
Do you feel like you fit in well with the rest of your school?
Honestly, I'm way too tall to be a freshman, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Anyone else?
So,
Do
any of us upperclassmen have any advice for the freshmen?
As a senior myself, I will say this: always try to find something that you like to do and get involved. Because if there's a certain class out there that you want to try and maybe take, then take it. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. You don't have to do that certain elective next year. So my tips, always find a way to get involved, because that is the best way to enjoy high school.
Hi. Don't think about what other people think about you, because high school is a time to discover who you are instead of what other people want you to be, and to just know yourself is way better than for other people to approve of you. Yeah.
Mine is just don't be a jerk. All right, don't just walk around and make fun of people just because it's funny or whatever. Just be a nice person, be considerate, be kind.
Yeah.
It'll get you a long way rather than being a jerk your freshman year and then becoming a junior and being wow, I was really that bad in 9th grade, and you have a better time if you're not a jerk.
Now that going off of that I also have something else to say, where don't judge people by the way that they look or by their interests, because I know as sophomores or juniors or seniors, a lot of them have that habit of, oh, you're a freshman, you're this, this, and this. Just whenever you become a sophomore, senior, junior, please don't do that, because we're supposed to be welcoming the freshmen into the school, not laying them down and being oh, you're a freshman, so you're X, Y, and Z, if you know what I mean by that.
All right, and going off the topic of new things in school, there's been a change in the grading system called Infinite Campus and a new career portfolio system called Smart Futures. Does anyone have opinions on the new programs other than career cruising and What else we had?
They're not that much different. It's just the fact that, I don't know. It's it's just the fact that they're a bit different because, there, you can find out your grades on Infinite Campus. You can find out your schedule on Infinite Campus. On Career Cruising, the only thing that you could really do is just, take tests to find out which career matches you and, what other jobs that suit your answers, pretty much.
I think that Everfi could be helpful because, in 11th grade, because people always you don't learn how to do taxes and banking and all of that stuff, and that's what that is for. But Smart Futures doesn't work. I've been trying to do it since school started, and it hasn't let me pass the first thing. So that's my opinion on it.
Yes, I've been on Career Cruising for a few years now, and now all of a sudden it's switching to Infinite Campus, and it's really confusing. Last year they made us take out all of our stuff off Career Cruising and put it on the Smart Futures, and I didn't know how to do all that.
So with Infinite Campus, I do not like Infinite Campus because of just the simple interface that Infinite Campus has. With Home Access Center, it was very easy to view your grades, but with Infinite Campus, the system is much less user-friendly and does not have a good layout to get to where you want to go to look at your grades, which is the primary source of it. And it's also very annoying that it gives you so many different notifications for each different grade that a teacher puts in.
Mo?
I have to disagree with that. I actually like Infinite Campus more than I liked the other one. I thought it was I think it's a lot easier to check my grades just on my phone than rather having to go all the way to the website.
Well, I was just used to Career Cruising and the old grade system, and now I feel like an old man looking at his computer what do I do? I don't know the interface at all.
Honestly, that's a bit true. And I do sort of like Infinite Campus because it is something that you can have on your phone and you can check out what you're missing. I'm pretty sure you could do that with Home Access Center as well, but pretty much the difference is just crazy.
I have another opinion on Infinite Campus. You have to type in your district every time, and I think that is stupid. Because on maybe I'm doing it wrong, but on Home Access, I didn't have to do that. Also, I don't even think I transferred my Career Cruising the right way, so that should be fun when I have to graduate.
You can still get in Career Cruising.
Okay. No change at Bash is the completion of the new grandstand at our football stadium. It is now open for use, and it includes seating for people with disabilities. The new bathrooms and concession stands won't be completed until next summer, so portable faculties are still being used for that. So what are your thoughts on the new grandstand?
I actually like it because, you can connect, they connect the two areas together, and it's really cool actually, and the amount of space that is beside this stadium is where you can go and meet your friends and you can hang out and chat, and then you can always go up and watch the game, which is pretty exciting.
I don't like it. I think that it looks very cheap, and I just want everyone to know that the thing that we have right now is it would cost the same, how much that costs. If you put bricks in, it costs the exact same, it just would take longer, and I think our school is lazy. So and they needed to make have it ready for football, but I just want everyone to know it's only the same. It's just time that is the problem.
I like the Porta-Johns. It adds a real nice Boyertown touch to it,
I said the only other thing with the new stadium is why couldn't they just, not even fix the old one, but just take care of the old one? It almost seems like a lack of care for the old stadium, that they had to rip it out and build a new one.
Yeah.
All right, well, anyone want to see any improvements made to our new grand stadium?
I actually can't wait until the bathrooms are implemented because, I mean, it's fine having to use porta potties, but I mean, like, you know, it's fun having bathrooms as well.
I don't know. I think there should be improvements because our stadium kind of didn't look like other high school stadiums. Now it does. That's kind of.
I think there should be like a store, like a little store for toys, or like, you know, hear me out. I think there should be other stuff for like, you know, merch, pretty much, like for like Boyertown, like the school store, and like you know, stuff to like, I don't know, like a flag. Oh, a flag, a flag, you know, like cool, like light up stuff, and stuff like that, pretty much. All right. Anyways.
Hi. I think that the ramp shouldn't squeak because it's really loud. And I walked up that thing like 10 times, and it was really loud. And I agree with Chris with the bathrooms because I didn't go to the bathroom the entire football game because I don't like porta potties.
Is anyone upset that the artificial turf is no longer being considered for the football field?
Yeah. I mean, our stadium looks like everyone else's, except we're using actual grass and not, you know, turf, which looks a million times better than actual grass. So I mean, it's just kind of like.
Oh, that's what turf is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was the.
No. All right. Another big change at Bash is the increased security in the building. There are about 5 security personnel in the building during the day, as well as an armed police officer. Officer Yeager replaces Officer Miller, who accepted a job at Daniel Boone School District at the end of last year. Officer Miller was not armed, whereas Officer Yeager is. So do we feel safer in the building with this added security?
Yes and no. That's only because, you know, they're security guards and they're trained and, you know, they're supposed to protect the students and staff and whoever else is in the building. But, you know, there's also downsides to it a bit because we armed them with guns, which is, you know, a lot of people will say that's a big no-no in schools, and that's a huge deal. And like, you know, it's like, remember the whole discussion about teachers with guns? Like, it's like kids saying they don't feel 100% safe.
Well, I mean, she's not really a teacher. She's actually a police officer.
I know. It's just like, I'm using it as pretty much an example. But there are some students in this building who do feel safe, and there are some students in this building who also do not feel safe at all. But yeah, I sort of agree with it on some aspects.
I like how you kind of put that because, like, in a way, I do feel safer, but like at the same time, it kind of makes me a little nervous too, because like, if something happens, like, who knows who could like get their hands on the guns or something like that? Because like, yeah, the police officers and like security guards and stuff are like making sure, like trying to make sure like people don't, but like stuff happens. So I don't know. In some ways, yes. In other ways, not really.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. The security guards are like grateful and like try to help the school, but at the same time, what is one security guard with a firearm going to do against someone or multiple people inside the school?
I definitely agree with that. And I remember this was a whole big thing back at East. Kids were saying like, oh, we don't feel safe. And, you know, I do agree with that on some aspects. Because I brought that up. I said, like, you know, there's people who are going to try and reach for the guns. And, like, I like how he, you know, put it because what is, like, a couple security guards against multiple or, like, multiple shooters or people in the building trying to harm students and with bigger weapons than, you know, than what they have.
Personally, I've never not felt safe in the school. Like, I've never really thought of the threats or anything as a serious thing or well, it's obviously a serious topic, but I've never not felt safe. But I also don't think having 5 security guards or 6 security guards is really going to prevent anything, mainly just because there's a lot of doors that are unlocked and kind of most people are let into the office, but it's fine.
I think one of the issues with armed security guards is we have a problem with police brutality, and I don't think students of color would feel safe because of that going on. And I know I don't feel safe, but I would hate to be in that position. I mean, like, what if something happens where we don't have to worry about being protected from somebody that's coming in the school, but the threat ends up being the school itself?
No, I have to agree with Mo on this situation, that I know I've never really felt unsafe in a school. Like, I personally think that it is a safe environment, that I've never had any problems where I have felt unsafe in the school. I feel like adding another security guard, especially an armed one, does pose that other question of, if we have to have this other security guard, what does that really say about the state of our schools and the state of the mental health awareness of many of the individuals in our schools? Where if people don't feel safe, that is a problem. And there are definitely some bigger solutions than just, oh, we'll put a security guard in there and give them a gun. I feel that there should be some sort of better solution to that, especially with tackling certain mental health problems.
Something else that has changed this year is study halls. We still have the unrestricted open campus for students that are in the good academic standing, but the dreaded LGI for students with grades lower than a 70% has ended. Now, if you have low grades or other obligations, you will be placed in a classroom study hall monitored by a teacher. You still must be quiet in these study halls, but there are less students in one classroom compared to the LGI study hall. Do you think this is a good new system that they're creating?
No. I am a longtime LGI veteran. I've been in LGI for a while now. And now that we're in study halls, it's basically the same thing, except you're just in a smaller room. So I don't get the point of just getting rid of the LGI completely, because teachers usually spend those LGI periods as like free periods to do work for themselves. So why do they have to watch like 10 kids in a room when it's the same thing as LGI?
Yeah, it really is. Like, on the first day of school, they're like, hey, LGI, like, there's no more LGI, and everyone cheered. And like, however, there is smaller classrooms where you're restricted from more things. And so it's like LGI but kind of more extreme, where it's smaller classes, and yeah, you could get like personalized help, but nobody's gonna do that.
Yeah, shout out to the LGI ladies, because I miss all of them. bunch of sweethearts.
Isn't LGI like the big room by like the library? Because okay, good. Because like that room, I was like, ooh, I can't wait to be in there. So, but like now that I'm hearing it shut down, I mean, it would be more practical to put that back in use, because there could be like LGI, like people watching over the students, and it wouldn't have to be a hassle. And I know that there would definitely be some students still like messing around and stuff, but
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed.
I feel like it makes no sense, because we still have to use the LGI rooms when we don't have subs, because there's no subs this year. And like, I've never been in LGI until this year, and I've been in it like 4 times now because of subs.
Yeah, I don't think that new sub thing is a good idea.
I agree with what like you guys are saying. I think the whole like being put in LGI for your like if you don't have a sub is completely irrational, because they're like, oh, like it'll be quiet in there. No, it's not quiet in there. I had to do a reading assignment in there, and let me just tell you, I did not get it done because everyone is screaming and the teacher's like, attendance, like it's dumb.
I was in there for 3 classes.
Yeah, I have to say the whole idea of having not personalized, but like teacher study halls is a good idea in theory. But if you're not being put in the study hall with a specific teacher that is in the class that you're like failing or below a 70% isn't working. Like, it doesn't make sense.
The teachers are just in there doing side work the whole time, and you're just sitting in there doing whatever you have to do, so you're not getting any help. It's just the same as you would be sitting in the LGI. And I also don't understand why the students have to be punished for and go to the LGI when the school can't find substitute teachers. That's not our fault. They can't find substitute teachers.
I agree with what Renee was saying because none of the rooms are actually quiet. None of the rooms actually have rules that are kind of enforced. And most of them you can just leave and go to the school store and go to the vending machines and all this stuff, which you're not allowed to do in LGI. And I feel like in LGI, it's a lot more restricted, so you want to get out of there, and it gives you kind of a motive like, hey, I want to get out of here. But if you're in a study hall where you're kind of in a room, you're kind of just like, it's not that bad, I can stay here.
Like, my whole opinion about the whole LGI thing with the substitute teachers is that in theory it does work. I think I still prefer the whole substitute model where you have an actual substitute teacher in your classroom. But with just sending a whole bunch of students to LGI is not practical because a lot of them are going to be messing around in there, not actually doing any work, because the LGI aides in there do have authority over us, but it's not evident that they do. Like, yes, they do try and tell you to stay on task, but still it's not working. It's not a practical solution to the problem.
Okay. In other news, earlier this month, the plaintiffs in the transgender bathroom case against Boyertown School District withdrew the case against the school. This means that there are no longer a legal challenge to Boyertown Area School District's policies allowing transgender students to use the bathrooms and locker rooms that match their gender identities. Do you think this will finally end the debate over bathroom use here in the school district? Oh.
I'm confused. What is the debate?
Whether or not, like, if you are transgender.
Wait, so kids now are allowed to go to whatever gender bathroom they want?
Yeah.
Good.
Okie dokie.
I don't think there really was a debate. Like, in my opinion, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
As long as whoever the transgender isn't like making like a huge deal that they're different and all, because some people just try to do that just for attention. So as long as they're just in there doing their thing and doing their business and getting out, like, it's not that big of a deal.
I feel that students should be able to express themselves how they want, and if that means going into the bathroom that matches their gender identity, then I feel that it shouldn't be a problem, because, you know, the whole debate was ridiculous, and like, I think that transgendered people deserve like a lot of LGBTQ problems in this school, but transgendered bathrooms is, I mean, it's not the worst idea, but I think that students should be able to go into the bathrooms that match their gender identity.
I feel like too, like the students should, like transgender students should be like able to feel comfortable with either like their new identities or like whatever's kind of going on with them, because like the whole reason that they are like changing is so that they can feel like more comfortable with like who they are and stuff like that. So I agree with both Chris and Kyle about like, because like if they're not like doing anything to like mess with other people or whatever, like they're just doing it because like that's kind of who they are, then like I feel like it shouldn't be that big of an issue.
I don't have a big issue with the whole transgender bathroom thing. I'm just kind of glad that the whole kind of case is over, because it was kind of a hassle for the families that felt like it needed to be done. And then like the whole, like, it's been going since 2016 thing is kind of ridiculous. Like the school district couldn't come to a compromise till now. It's 2019. Like, it's been a really long time since the whole thing has become an issue. It should be, or it should have been resolved before.
I agree with Chris and everything. I think that we should just if you want to be in a certain bathroom and you feel like you'll feel more comfortable in a certain bathroom, I feel like you should be able to. But just don't make something out of it. Just walk in, do whatever, come out. Don't make a big problem and everything about it. It's not. Yeah, don't make a scene and everything. It's not a big deal with that.
I don't think this should have had to been debated at all. I think it should have just gone without question. I mean, nobody's going in the bathroom to do anything other than go to the bathroom. Why is it such a big deal?
I agree. And basically what I think of that is yes, there are a lot of problems in this school, and I totally agree with there should not be any transgender bathrooms. Students should be able to feel who they are. I've said that before, but there are people in this school who have their opinions on LGBTQ, and it's, some of the opinions are ridiculous and some of the opinions you want to disagree with. There are people who, there are parents, who will make a deal about it. If a student expresses them that themselves at school and that parent hears about it, they could possibly, make a whole big deal out of it and report them to the school, and it'll just be a whole big mess. But I definitely agree that students should be able to go into the bathrooms that they identify as, the locker rooms that they identify as. It was just a ridiculous debate. I don't think it should have been debated at all.
I don't mind what they do. I just want them to know that the boys' locker room memes are true. But it wouldn't be Insight if we didn't talk about politics. So Trump has once again made a big appearance in the recent news headlines. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced a formal impeachment inquiry of President Donald Trump. The reports claim that Trump has been withholding aid money from Ukraine and pressuring the Ukrainian president to dig up dirt on the former Vice President Joe Biden. Any opinions on this? Do you think the impeachment will go through or just be a lost cause?
I hope to God it goes through. Trump is the most ridiculous president I think that has ever been in the White House. I think he should have been impeached the second he got voted in. It shouldn't have happened. And I do think that he should. I think it might go through. To be honest, with all this stuff that he's done, I think it might actually go through because he's done so much bad things. There has been so much dirt on him, he's been saying he's, a bunch of women have, put reports against him that he sexually assaulted them. And I think he should be impeached.
Honestly, I think the last 4 years have been hilarious. Just everything that has gone on, everything that has been said, every tweet that has been tweeted,
yes.
Everything that's happened, I think, has been funny. I don't agree with a lot of things Trump says, but some of the things he has done for the business, for the economy, has helped. I'm not gonna lie, the statistics say that, but I don't agree with him being, sexist or racist, but.
I definitely, and I know I have my opinions about Trump. I think that over Twitter and a lot of things like that, a lot of social media platforms, he says a lot of stuff that should really not be said. Though impeachment in this kind of case is a little bit tricky because what he did is still kind of debatable whether or not it is impeachable. Did he actually actively say that? If he actually said that, then yes, but if he actually didn't say it, then that's where it kind of gets a little tricky. Though my whole question is, do you really want to impeach him? Because many people, think of it this way. Our Vice President, Mike Pence, where if you know who he is, he says and does a lot of stuff that's a lot worse than Donald Trump does and has a lot of horrible opinions that are just not good for the country and not good morally for the country. So in my opinion, I'm not even sure why anyone would want to try and impeach him and remove him from office. My whole question is, Trump or Pence? Which one?
I just want to know what goes on in these people's heads and how, how they got elected for such a high position and such an important position. Because there's some things that I agree with, but other things I'm just like, what?
I just want to say really quickly, one of my favorite things that happened was after Michelle Obama with the healthy thing. I'm so glad we got ice cream back in the schools. Just gonna say. I'm just gonna be honest there.
Well, going back to this whole impeachment thing, Trump said in a press conference yesterday that he thinks that the Democrats are doing this because they don't want to beat him in an election. So they're just trying to impeach him to get him out. Do you agree with what he's saying or no?
What was the question?
Trump's saying that the Democrats are just using this so they don't have to run against him.
Oh, no, that's ridiculous. That is entirely ridiculous. We're Democrats, I don't think they're using it to run against him. He's done so much things that is impeachable. Leave me alone. He basically broke a lot of constitutional laws, and he should be impeached for that reason. He has done things in his past that is, nobody would be proud of. He's, it's just ridiculous. It's entirely ridiculous.
You see, the thing with Trump thinking Democrats want to impeach him because it'll be easier, that's wrong. We want to impeach him because we don't want a cheese ball in our office.
Oh my God, I love you.
I mean, just everything that is happening is a mess right now.
I mean, to be completely honest, the thing that they're trying to impeach him for isn't necessarily illegal. It's just kind of a rude thing to do. Because giving aid to someone, it's like you giving it to someone, you can take it back. Now, what is he doing something that's nice to do? No, but is he doing something inherently illegal? Also, no.
Another recent story that has seen Trump in the news is his proposed ban on electric cigarettes with anything other than tobacco flavor. The reason for this ban is to cut back on teen vaping since flavored vape tends to appeal to younger users. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar reported that about a quarter of high school teens vaped in the past 30 days, up to 20% of the year from the year before. So do you think the ban on vape flavors will reduce teen vaping?
Vaping is not good. Vaping is definitely not good. It is, some people say, oh, it's better than smoking. No, it is definitely not good at all. Because better does not still mean good. It just means it's still not good. But the whole thing with just banning something like a drug outright is still a little bit tricky because people are still going to want to find their fix. They're going to find a way to get that fix of that certain drug that they want. So it might just turn from a legal market to an illegal market where nothing's really going to change, but people are still going to be getting their fix of their vape through an underground source. So in my opinion, to solve the problem, it should be to educate people on what vaping can truly do. Because whenever you educate someone, that makes their opinion a little bit, they have to think about that opinion, say, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to harm myself in this certain way?
Well, if they decide to ban vaping and everything, you have to think about it like this. Teenagers, when they do these drugs and they drink and they do all that stuff, it's because it's illegal. It's mostly because it's illegal and they want to do it and feel better about it, better about themselves and feel cooler and older and all that stuff. So if you ban e-cigarettes, that's what e-cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's basically people are still going to be able to find ways to get them, and it's just going to make teens want their urge to do it more.
My brother vapes, and we found out about it, and it was upsetting, but I think we should ban it, but I do agree with what Eric said. we should also educate them, but I also disagree with what Eric said, because we've been educating teenagers on the last, what, how long has it, like, they found out that cigarettes had
At least
dangerous chemicals in them in the 80s, right? Like, I don't know. But we've been educating people on drugs and cigarettes since then. And, you know, it does nothing. It really does nothing. But, like, I hope they ban it because, like, you know, I hate to see people, you know, die or, you know, get illnesses because they wouldn't stop vaping and they wouldn't stop, you know, it's upsetting. And I also agree with what he said, because teenagers do sometimes want to do stuff that is illegal, and they want to drink, they want to smoke, they want to do drugs, you know, they want to drive a car underage. Like there's a lot of those urges, and in this day and age, I think like they're still gonna find their way to try and
Like
get
if
it.
you want watermelon flavoring, just eat a watermelon.
True.
But with the illnesses coming up with vaping, if you look more closely into it, it's actually THC carts that are like laced or have vitamin E in it. And the kids going to the hospitals, they're not going to take the felony charge of using and owning marijuana or a marijuana product. So they're just going to say they're vaping, and then the meat is just going to eat that up. Now, I'm not condoning vaping or anything like that. I'm just giving more clarity into the whole vaping illness.
I don't think that they're gonna ban it because all the world wants is money. And if they ban this, then they're gonna lose money because a lot of money goes towards this like incorporation, and all they want is money.
I think that with vaping, banning the flavors isn't really going to stop teens if they're already addicted to it. They're more likely to just go to other things, like they can just do the regular vaping. Like I know people who have gone from flavored to just like regular stuff because like of what they're saying and stuff.
Do you think the data is actually like correct, like a quarter of teens are vaping? Or do you think it's like higher? Yeah.
Way higher.
Yeah.
Almost everybody in this school vapes.
Well, no.
That's not a fact.
I don't.
Listen, Linda.
Talking to?
Half of this school, well, not half of it. I don't know.
I don't think half.
At the end of the day, people are still gonna do what they want to do. The FDA put all this money way back into this whole anti-cigarette thing, like don't smoke cigarettes, all this stuff. Cigarettes are bad for you, and people still smoke their cigarettes. So all this, the FDA is just gonna be putting more money into trying to stop it, when it probably won't result. This problem probably won't even be resolved for another like 5 years.
All right. Well, following one of the deadliest years on record for school violence in 2018, the nonprofit group Sandy Hook Promise debuted its latest PSA, Back to School Essentials, a powerful and impactful video that highlights the anxiety and fear students face in the reality of school shootings. For those of you who have not seen the video, it depicts middle school kids talking about their new school supplies and reenacting how the supplies will help them during a shooter attack. The fictional video is very graphic and even depicts kids using their new socks as a tourniquet to stop bleeding from a gunshot wound. Sandy Hook Promises is led by several family members whose loved ones were killed by a shooter at Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012. Their mission is to create a culture engaged in preventing shootings, violence, and other harmful acts in school. Have you guys watched the video? And what do you think of it, if you did?
I watched the video, and like, especially the last part where the girl's texting her mom saying like, I love you, and like, you know, like it got to me because, you know, it's like, it's really upsetting to see that this has to be released. And I know that they're trying to make people aware of shootings that might happen, and the message at the end where it says it's back to school, you know what that means, you know, it's just, it really got to me. And I actually did some research on this, and the mom of a victim actually condoned and like wanted them to release this video to make viewers feel uncomfortable. So that's what I have heard. or read?
So I haven't actually seen the video, but I do know some stuff about school shootings. And from like just the little clips that we saw of the video, it kind of triggered some fear, I guess you could say, because like I used to live in Colorado where the I think it was the Aurora Theater shooting was. Columbine happened out there, and I was something came up the other day where there was like more threats about like school shootings and stuff like that in like a place in Colorado where there had previously been a mass school shooting, and so like I kind of looked into it a little bit more, and there was like 4 mass shootings in the past 2 decades. So I feel like videos like that do need to be shared because like it really needs to bring awareness to how like impactful, I guess, school shootings can be, because like that kind of stuff is it needs to be put out there, and like people don't like talking about it because it's uncomfortable, but people do need to like realize how big of a threat it is, especially with just people, I guess.
The video is highly graphic. I know. Watching it, I was just thinking to myself, oh my goodness, they're really releasing a video like this. It is definitely a scary video to watch. I know as a lighter-hearted person myself, it really took me by surprise. And you're absolutely right about a lot of the things that you said. Like, it is a horrifying reality that people are going to want to do this. And the video should be more dark and more scary in that kind of sense of making sure to get this message across for people that, hey, there is a problem and we need to get together to solve it and figure out how we can make our kids feel safe at school and how we can prevent these horrifying events from happening again.
I think like everyone's like when you watch the video, it's kind of like they want to make you feel uncomfortable, and you don't want to watch it because you don't want to know that is your reality. Like, you don't want to know that could actually happen, and people don't like thinking about it because like you don't want to be in that situation. And then when you have those kinds of situations, or like you get like threats and everything, it's like really scary. And then some people take it as a joke, and other people just like freak out and don't know what to do, and they like want to cry, but they also want to like scream, and they just don't know what to do. So like, yeah.
I think it's definitely bigger than someone just shooting up a school just because like they feel like it. I feel like part of the problem is that in school we don't focus on mental health. In America we don't focus about mental health, and in general we just don't focus on the main part of the problem. We're just focusing on the part where if we add more security guards, and if we add more security, or if we take more precautions to make our schools safer, then it's just gonna solve itself. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
So here's the thing. It's not a matter of adding more security. It's a matter of because a lot of the time when people do this kind of stuff, it's because like something happened to them, or like people did something that like was just really, really bad, or like their mental health is really bad and stuff like that. So it's not like as important to focus on like the security aspect of it as it is to focus on the mental health aspect of it, and like making sure that people are not like, I want to say like mentally unstable, but that kind of seems a little extreme. But yeah, security isn't the main issue. It's the people itself that are.
All right, well, the organization's goal is to enact gun reforms, including mandatory background checks before someone can purchase a firearm. Do you think videos like these are effective in getting people to realize the dangers of firearms and to press for gun reform?
I do, because it definitely tugs at your heart, and to see something like that is traumatic. And people think oh, that's never going to happen here in this small town of Boyertown. There is an actual possibility that it could happen here. You do not know, out of the 2,500 students that attend this building, you do not know when one of them is going to snap, or if somebody is going to come off the street, and it tugs at your heartstrings to think that that could be you. Like that could be a real situation where we have to, you know, what like Asia said, we won't follow the drill, like run, hide, or fight. Like some might, but others will be too panicked to realize what to do, and others will just try and run, and others will just try and hide, and others will just try and fight, you know, no matter where they are. And like, it strikes fear into your heart that it could happen here.
And the thing about that also that is scary is that usually school shootings are someone that is attending that school or someone who has attended that school. So you have to think these kids, if a kid starts going mental and just starts switching up, he already knows, because we mandatorily have to run through these drills as a school, and we have to go through all this protocol together as classes. And if someone who may not be mental at the time then turns mental, he knows the whole plan and knows the whole how the drill is going to work. So that's just another thing to think about.
Well, on a lighter subject, homecoming is right around the corner with the Kings and Queens nominees, and the homecoming game has the school really pumped up, except for a specific Spirit Week day, Visco Day. The day is going off the term Visco Girl, which is generally used as an insult for a young, usually white woman who posts trendy pictures of herself edited on the app Visco. How do you guys feel about Visco Day?
I think it's dumb. Like, people are like, oh my god, you're like a Visco girl because you have a Hydro Flask. I've actually had a Hydro Flask for quite a bit now.
You're a trendsetter.
Before this, like, I would honestly probably be called a Visco girl right now because of what I'm wearing. And just to let you guys know, I am not a Visco girl. So you guys are like, like, I just think it's stupid. Like, I don't know, it's dumb. Like, people are like, don't be stereotypical, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's like what they're doing right now, so I think it's quite hypocritical.
I can't wait. I mean, I can't wait for everybody to come in with their baggy t-shirts, Hydro Flask scrunchies, you know. Yeah, and like, people use that somewhat as an insult, and other people can, like, will literally walk by anybody with a baggy shirt and go like, or like say and I oop, and it's like, you know, it's sort of funny, but not really. But I can't wait for that day. I mean, like, I didn't realize that they were gonna actually make a day out of it. I thought it was just a joke.
I think it's getting old.
It
Yeah, like first when the idea came out, everyone's like, oh my god, that's so cool. But like now I feel like the trend is just like over. Like obviously I'm gonna participate because I get extra credit, but like I just think it's old and like done with. Move on.
I think it'll be pretty fun. Like, I have a scrunchie, and like people say I'm a Visco girl and everything, and I'm not. I am not. But like I think it'll be fun because like it's like one day where you can just be like, ha ha ha, I'm like a Visco girl. Like I can do what I want and I can say and it's not real because like you're making fun of them, but like you're not really making fun of them. And like I just think it'll be funny because I know so many people are gonna fakely drop their Hydro Flask and just be like, I dropped my Hydro Flask. So yeah, I just think it's gonna be really fun.
Or
So.
they could, like, you know, or they could be like screaming because they dropped their Hydro Flask. It's like,
You know what I want to know is what does even mean? What does it mean? What is it? Like everyone has been saying this for so long, but do we even know what it means?
I think it's how they laugh.
I mean,
I dropped my Hydro Flask.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like.
How is that a laugh though?
Like a laugh, like.
Yeah.
I mean, to be completely honest, a lot of memes don't really make sense. Like in general, like memes don't make sense. But over the summer, a Facebook event was named Storm Area 51, with the date being September 20th. This took the internet by storm, with over 2 million people RSVPing and countless memes being made. In the end, only about 150 people showed up on the scheduled day, but now it's become a festival with an estimated 1,500 people attending. What are your thoughts on the memes produced by this Area 51 just craze?
Oh my god, I feel like I'm like jumping in at every second I can get, but I want to go so bad because like you know, everybody's just like, oh my God, there's gonna be hot anime chicks in like the building, and like, you know, I was like, people are like, oh yeah, like I heard 2 people actually got arrested for trying to actually storm Area 51.
No, one guy got arrested for public urination. I had to look this whole. That's about it.
Really? Holy crap! That's amazing.
I think
That's
it's
amazing.
stupid. There's literally no point. It's a military base, like. Okay, and
we just spent this whole talk show talking about issues and stuff, and people are worried about storming Area 51. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Honestly, so I like conspiracy theories, right? It was probably just like a cover up for something like that's actually going on. I like don't follow like anything in the world, but that's just my thought. Like it's probably like a cover up of something going on that's actually an issue that they don't want us to know about.
Well, do we think that there's aliens in Area 51?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I like how she just Shane Dawson this. Like she turned this into a Shane Dawson conspiracy video, like aliens, like. Oh God. But yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
I know that there's like a lot of conspiracies about Area 51, but like the security on all military bases are pretty tight. It's not just like that one. It is a little suspicious though that like how much security they have for that one specifically. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like it was like is for actually storming it. I feel like it was just stupid, but like the memes were like really good. Like if I'm gonna be honest, the memes were hilarious. Like especially how we found out one kid Naruto'd across the news. That was pretty funny.
Would any of you go and storm?
Absolutely. 100%.
I would.
Yes.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't go.
No.
Problem is you're raiding
No,
a
I wouldn't
military
go.
base,
I really
and
wouldn't
military people have weapons that
But I
you're
mean-
raiding their base.
Now it's basically been turned into a festival outside of Area 50. Would you go?
No. I feel like that's not going to even be a thing either.
I would 100% go to a festival because, like, imagine how awesome that would be. Everyone would be, like, just chilling, just running across the place in, like, alien suits or something.
Yeah, like I totally go, because like you could see like the Karens like asking for the manager of Area 51, and like, you know, like I don't know, like furries like running across Naruto runners gamers, you know. They all storm and like, you know, but that's pretty fun. Like that would be so fun to watch. Like just to like, you know, there would be I can imagine so many merch ideas. But yeah, I would totally go. That would sound so fun, except it costs a lot.
Okay, well, moving on to the unpopular opinion, which is a segment from last year. So the unpopular opinion for this episode is Beyonce is overrated.
What?
Not hate on
Beyonce.
BB. She is beautiful.
Like, what does she do?
She's Jay-Z.
Wait, what did you say about Beyonce?
Overrated.
No, wait, what's going on with Beyonce?
Stupid.
I was listening to Beyonce today, and it was amazing, honestly. Like, yeah, she has like a lot of fans, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Beyonce is like a god or whatever. But like, her music is good. Like, I'll listen to her music. I mean, I don't see her as a god or like a queen or something. Yeah, I don't know. But like,
You're not like
she's
kissing
cool.
her shoe every second. You know?
But like, does like no one remember when she was in that interview when she was pregnant and she bent down and the stomach just was like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
kind of shady.
That was controversial to the
I mean,
max.
all of her good songs were like earlier in the 2000s. to
I
be
don't
completely
listen to
honest.
her.
She's not overrated. She's just washed up.
I hardly listen to her songs. I will admit I hardly listen to her songs. But when they do come on, like, I will throw it back. I'm not afraid to. China's down there going like, not again!
But like, what new songs do people listen to, honestly?
Honestly, like, there's a lot of like, I've been noticing that 1980s trends are coming back. Like synthesizers, you know, like the sounds of music, the fashion's coming back. Like sweaters, like short shorts, scrunchies, all-stars, you know, hairstyles are even coming back. Like I've noticed a couple of people with 80s hairstyles, and honestly, like I listen to a lot of 80s music. I'm sorry, but like AC/DC, Aerosmith, I'll listen to it. Queen, yeah.
Mo?
Beyonce's dumb. I feel like any music that she's made isn't really good, and she's kind of just Jay-Z's, you know, wife. He got her impregnated and they're together. Boom.
Dude, you've been kind of rude.
I mean, it's kind of just like she's basically a singer that's married to Jay-Z.
Yeah, like she's just
That's it.
a singer, like any other singer, kind of,
Well, like,
you know?
The thing is, Beyonce was popping like 10 years ago, so yeah, we're at the age where we don't know much about Beyonce. Beyonce was like that girl. I don't know who like is a popular pop singer nowadays, like a girl pop singer, but like she was like that back then. But now she's just like in a different stage of her life where she's just trying to like. I think she's done. She's done with music. She hasn't dropped any music in like 3 years, and she does have a kid now, so she doesn't need to make any more money. Jay-Z's already a billionaire, so.
I feel like the only thing is that, like, it's not overrated, like he said. It's just her older music is much better than anything she's produced in the past couple years, which is almost nothing. But so I feel like it's not. She's kind of overrated in the fact that like she's still popular because she's not really still popular, but her music, older music, is not overrated because it's kind of good.
I feel like what happens over the time with singers is when their music comes out, that people are just think, oh my goodness, it's really good and I really do like it. But over time what happens is that the interest starts to fade away and people are just thinking to themselves, I don't really care for the music anymore. And that's what I feel like is starting to happen to Beyonce and a lot of the other older singers like Taylor Swift.
Well, that's it for this September edition of Insight.
Be sure to tune in again next month. We'll see you then.
See you then.
See you then.